Okay, let me record the meeting. And hi everyone, happy to see all of you and welcome back to today's session organized by VODAN Africa. My name is Putu, and we have 10 agenda. We have 10 to do today, so I will share my screen to share the agenda, and also I will chat the agenda on the chat box. So so we have 10, this is our agenda. So first we will update on time schedule by Prof. Miriam, and then video presentation of integration of back-end and front-end by Ezra, and then preparation of preparation of the template groups to prepare for deployment by Mariam, and then followed by update on decision regarding KPIs for the dashboard by Dr. Reginald or me, and then update on documentation. Alia should be updated about this, and then overview of data fields and subsidiary descending terms for a template groups by Dr. Sakinat, and then overview of data intelligence by Prof. Miriam, and then we will follow by preparation of conclusion of pilot 1 by timeline by Oluwole and Ezra, and then update of country coordinators from Dr. Reginald. Then we have room for a question or feedback on the last session. So now I will, but before that, please mute your mic, and if you have a question, so you can type your question into the chat box or raise your hand while the presentation is going on. And now I will hand over to Professor Francisca to start the meeting. The floor is yours, or yeah, Prof. Francisca.
Yes, thank you very much, Putu. A very good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone, member of our community. Thank you once again for joining us for this Tuesday meeting, and thank you for all the good work that you do on this project. We're getting closer to the end of the project, today realizing our goal, and then I'm happy that today we shall have a demonstration of that, even as Professor Miriam will also be updating us on the timeline. Yes, I know we have put in a lot of work on this project, and then the efforts are beginning to yield good fruits. We're doing a retooling of CEDA to suit the African purpose, and through our efforts, we have been able to also help the Stanford group to actually make CEDA better. So this, we should be very proud. So on this note, again, I would like to welcome everyone and thank you for all the efforts in ensuring that we meet our targets and we're able to do our deployment as we have promised our sponsors and partners. Thank you, Putu and Aliyah and Miriam, for ensuring that we have the Tuesday meetings properly set up and coordinated, and thanks to Obina for also disseminating the announcement. I'm going to call on Professor Miriam now to provide an update on the timelines. Prof, please.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Actually, if you don't mind, we could start with the work of Oluwole and Ezra. I've prepared a timeline, so I'm happy to do that, but I can do it at the end. But as you know, Ezra and Oluwole have worked through the weekend and the night and last night. So I think it's just so exciting to have the video ready of the preparation of the installation of the dashboard, integrated front end and back end. So with your permission, I'd say that we start with the presentation of the video by Ezra and Oluwole, and big thanks to them and to you and everybody in that team for really getting this off the ground in a very good way. And then we'll discuss the timelines after that. In a general way, I think that we can see from the video that this is ready now and done, prepared for the pilot 1 in 3 facilities in 3 countries. we would then use this to take out all of the necessary remaining bugs and things that still need a little bit of attention, such as, for instance, integrating the bulk inputs, which is going to be important for the data production, which can then be integrated in pilot 2, and then we are ready for installation. And we saw this week that the Nigerian team, Ibul, worked so hard. All of these computers have been prepared. We are really making great progress all along. Zimbabwe team met, the two teams in Zimbabwe met together, which is also great news. So perhaps we can go to the presentation now of Ezra and Oluwola, then go through the detailed agenda, and then I will have, at the end, I have a PowerPoint which kind of ties everything for March, and then also for the entire year, so that all of us can see together what our big milestones are going to be this year, and why this progress right now is so very important, and good that it has been achieved. So let me hand over to you, Oluwola and Ezra, and thanks again for all the hard work that you put in.
Oh, thank you, Prof. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Before we start the video presentation, I would first of all like to appreciate everyone for the opportunity to work on this project. Then we appreciate all the team members. I will call some names in no particular order. Samson, Rudwan, Miriam, Alia, everybody, Prof, everybody have been fantastic on this project. Get to yes. Like I said, in no particular order. Yeah, and all the data stewards, yeah, everybody. I'm sure after this project, subconsciously, I will be expecting Alia's messages every Saturday and Sundays. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure working on this project. I will hand over to Ezra to do the video presentation. Perhaps the video is ready for display. So yeah, thank you. Over to you, Ezra.
Thank you, Oluwole. I'd actually prepared a list of people I wanted to give special thanks, but I have to throw it out of the window. I'll go straight to the presentation, and I'll share that. Just a second. I'll redo that just to make sure I have the audio. Okay. The video was not really made by a professional video editor, but I'm sure it will do the work. Enjoy. I'm going to be showing you how to connect the front end to the back end, that is integrating the dashboard with the local instance of SIDA that you have. And in the end, we shall see how data is reflected on the front end of the internal dashboard and the external dashboard. So let's get started. Working with Ubuntu OS, I'm working with Linux Mint, but ideally the instructions should remain the same. So we have prepared different images for different instance groups, and I'll be going through the different images. I'll be pausing and starting so that we save time on the video, so that we get a real feel of how the different facilities will contribute data and how the dashboard will look like. So at this moment, the virtual machine has fully booted up. The necessary services are all up and running. You may want to double check this by opening a new terminal and typing in SIDA-SS. As you can see, all the services are running apart from two, that is phpMyAdmin and Redis Commander. We may not really need these two for the demonstration. So let's go ahead. SIDA has fully booted up, and what we need to do right now is to open our browser and log into SIDA. Make sure you populate some sample data in the COVID template, in the OPD template, and the MCH template. You can simply log into SIDA by typing in sida.metadatacenter.orgx in the address bar, or you can simply click on the link that we've placed on the bookmarks toolbar right on top of the browser right here. So you will be redirected to a login page. The email and the password are saved within the browser. You don't need to type them. Just proceed and click login. In a second or two, you're going to be redirected into CEDA, and there is a folder in the root of CEDA named VODAN Pilot. Double click it to reveal 3 more folders. That is the COVID-19, which keeps the template for COVID-19. There's another folder named after the template group or a country. In this case, it is Kenya. It holds the template for the OPD register, and then a third folder named MCH that holds the template for the mother-child related data. So the reason we are logging into CEDA is to mainly do 2 things. To make sure that each template at least has a sample population or an instance. For example, here in COVID, we have 1 instance. Or you might go ahead and click on the hamburg menu at the far right, and the first option is to populate. When you open it, it will give you a form that you can fill. In the interest of time, I'm not going to populate this. We've already populated 1 instance right here. You might populate as many as you wish, and this will also determine the amount of statistics that you're going to get on your dashboard. So please do this for the rest of the templates. Make sure you have some sample data in the OPD register by populating the OPD for your respective template group. We already have 1 entry here. You might actually just duplicate it if you wish. There is an option to duplicate, I think. I don't really quite see it here, but there should be an option to duplicate this instance so that you don't have to fill out the form over and over again. So do this for all the templates. Make sure you have some data for COVID, make sure you have some data for outpatient, and make sure you have some data for maternal child health. And then the second thing is to make sure that you have the template IDs for each of these templates. For example, for the maternal child health, you can easily copy the template ID by opening that template and picking the string of characters that is after the word template in the URL and before the question mark. That is the easy way, or you can go the rather a little bit hard way of opening the JSON schema right here and looking for the @ID value. That is the whole string, but what we are interested in is this last string. So there are 2 options. You can pick it from the URL or actually pick it from the JSON schema at the bottom. So this is the string that we are interested in from A up to 3, not the entire URL string, but the ID of the template. So you might be wondering why we are collecting the template IDs. We really need them for the next step, that is configuring them into the dashboard so that the dashboard can fetch information from CEDA. So keep them on the side like this, the MCH ID, the COVID ID, the OPD ID, and also make sure to add the API key in this format. You can find the API key in the top right hand corner under the profile, and it's right here. So pick it as well and keep it on the side because you're going to need it in the next step. So at this moment, I'm going to assume you have your template IDs on the side. You have the API key, and all that is left is to set up the dashboard to connect to CEDA. So you can easily do that by opening a new tab and then type in dashboard.vodana, put a full colon, then port 8081. The reason we are running the dashboard on port 8081 is because services within CEDA are already using the standard port 80, and if we are to have the dashboard within the same environment, it means we have to run it on a different port. So I'm going to go with option number 2, which is to just double click the bookmark link in the toolbar right here, and it will take me to the dashboard setup for the very first time. So the dashboard will need to have a connection to the MySQL database that we are using. It will also need to set up its own tables and structure within the database, and also we need to set up an administrator for the first time login. So let's go ahead and verify the MySQL connection. So you need to provide the address of the database, and it's already in here by default. It's within the environment. That is why we have it as 127.0.0.1, or you can simply have it as localhost. You may not have to modify this information. there is a standard user that is root, and the password. This is the standard VODAN password. We've not changed it. I'll share it in the group, the @VODAN password. So you might want to just confirm that we have success. Move on to the next step, that is for the dashboard to install its database within the MySQL environment that we have just connected to here right on top. So click on setup. That will also be successful. And the last option is for us to create an administrator that is going to set up other users within the dashboard. So set up the administrator by providing an email address. I'll choose what is already here. That is admin@admin.com. It can be something else that you can easily remember. Then the password, I'll also choose the password that is remembered within the browser so that we maintain it. The standard VODAN password. I'll just confirm it here. You can simply type in something that best suits your environment at this stage, and then I'll say create the user. So at this stage, the dashboard is fully set up. It has made a connection to the database. The database has been set up, and the user has also been created. This means now that we can proceed and log into our dashboard. So I'm going to click on go to login page, and I'll be redirected to the dashboard login page right here. I'm going to enter what I provided, and I'll be logged into the dashboard. On the left hand side, we have a navigation pane that has option 1, where you can view information from the OPD register, option 2, where you can view information from the COVID-19 template, and option 3, where you can view the mother-child health related information from that corresponding template. The other 2 options are for the system. One is for access control, who gets to view what on the dashboard, and then the other will help us to update the configuration of the dashboard so that it can talk to or communicate with the SIDA instance. And the other option, you can also use it for adding new users and restricting or resetting their passwords. So let's get started. We're going to explore the OPD register, but first we need to set up the necessary information so that this dashboard can connect to SIDA. Right. Look for system setup, and under system setup we have SIDA parameters. Click on them and choose the blue button that is update configuration. So this is where we're going to need the information that we kept on the side. We shall just simply copy and paste it right here. Just minimize that. So I'm going to copy the MCH ID first and configure it in SIDA by just pasting it under the MCC template ID. We use MCC and MCH interchangeably, but they all stand for mother-child health information, health-related information. Then COVID-19, paste in there, and the OPD template ID, paste it in the template ID, that is the very first field. Then finally we need to bring the API key as it is with the keyword API key at the start. So we are going to just copy it and also paste it in the field of the API key right there. So double check the information and make sure it is correct before you proceed. The SIDA URL has been pre-configured. You don't need to update it unless there is really need, but we assume that everybody is going to be running on resource.metadatascenter.orgx. Resource is the standard domain for calling APIs within SIDA. So it's not sida.metadatascenter.orgx, it is resource. So you might want to leave that unchanged and say update configuration. So you'll get a notification, a pop-up at the top that the information has been successfully updated. Next thing is to now sync data from SIDA to the dashboard. If you wait for 5 minutes, this will automatically happen because the dashboard automatically fetches information from SIDA every 5 minutes. So it updates the information every 5 minutes if you do not need to do anything. But if you need to view the information straight away, you may need to do a manual sync. So as you see, we have 0 visits this month, this week. Total patients are 0. The overall gender composition is 0. So we can simply go back to where we set the parameters. There is a green button that we use to sync, to manually invoke the sync between SIDA and the dashboard. So I'll click that. And within a second, information will come. I'll get a notification that sync has been initiated successfully. And I expect when I go back to the OPD register to find the one instance that we have in SIDA in OPD to be reflected right in the dashboard. I'm just logging back into SIDA so that we confirm that. So you can see we have one visit this month and one patient. So that is the one instance that we have under the OPD register. We have two instances under the MCH template field. Those are the two instances that we have. When you go back to SIDA, you can double check that. In the pilot, we have two instances in the MCH folder. This is the first one, and this is the second one. And we have one instance in each of the other folders that is in COVID-19. We have one instance here. You may be having 2 or 3 or 4, and those are the statistics that you should have on the dashboard. We have 2 for MCH and 1 for OPD. So right here, we have 1. So at this moment, the dashboard has been set up. It can now communicate to SIDA when you add new templates, when you add new instances from a template and do a manual sync that is going to SIDA parameters and then syncing it once again. It will pull out that information. If you click it, it will pull out that information and it will be reflected onto the dashboard. So at this moment, you've successfully set up the internal dashboard and it's ready for use. Now that the dashboard has been successfully set up, you can always access it by visiting dashboard.vodana port 8081. So you can simply click on the bookmarks toolbar that has been provided. Dashboard.vodana port 8081 is not a real domain. This is an internal domain that we have attached to the local hosts so that you can easily remember. So now that everything has been set up, there's one more housekeeping to do with the dashboard. Log in once again and come to System Setup. Under SIDA Parameters, there is a form at the bottom of the page. This form is meant to collect information about the facility. Filling this information as accurate as possible. Having accurate information here will help us with the data analysis and also attributing the collected information to the rightful health facility. So let's take a look at the external dashboard. Simply head over to dashboard.vodana.health. This is a public domain that can be accessed from anywhere in the world. It has a summary of the participating countries, the metadata instances that have been collected so far, the different registers as we have seen in the local setup, the data entered in the local setup, for example, in the demonstration that we have seen for Kenya, cascades down onto the external dashboard whenever you either do a manual sync or after 5 minutes when the data automatically syncs itself. So you can explore the different registers. There is a COVID-19 register, which is also populated by the local facilities. Now, if we had Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, all properly deployed and set up, this will be a collective aggregation of all their instances and the KPIs right here. I hope this has been easy to watch. You can also contribute to this dashboard. The source code has been shared with Aliyah. Feel free to contribute, and thank you for watching. Thank you, Prof.
That is really very, very amazing, Ezra. It's really wonderful to see. And I think that it is worth remembering that it really fulfills all the specifications and requirements that we had said, Prof. Francesca, exactly 1 year ago. And that is that the data of the health facilities are held in a repository. They are stored in the health facility and in the health facility only. So we can confirm that both the local dashboard and the aggregate dashboard are based on data visiting and based on data that are only held only in the health facility. The other specification that we had was that the templates that we would use, that many have worked on so hard and for such a long time, that they are specific to the health facility. So all of the templates are actually based on the templates that are in use in the health facility. And I also think that we can now say that it's not so difficult to adapt the health facility templates. So if there's still, we were discussing yesterday, if there's still variation in different facilities, for instance, in Nigeria, that can easily be adapted. The decision that we made was that we would go for fixed KPIs in the dashboard, which would be produced in real time. And that is exactly what we have. We have had discussions yesterday, and this is something that would be for a planning onwards from here. To work with Allegro Graph or Triple Store to also allow dynamic queries. And the reason why that could be of interest, but is something that will need to be discussed from here on, becomes quite visible if you look at all the data fields that are now collected in the 88 facilities of VODAN once we have installed this. So that is the next point on the agenda. And that is the overview of the fields that are put together and compared by Mariam with the help of Dr. Sakinat also, I think. But before that, let me give the floor to Bert and also to Professor Francesca to really appreciate this milestone that we have here. Bert.
Yes, first of all, excellent job by this technical team, really fantastic. And it's so good to see now that we have a clear example of data visiting the way that we described it already about a year ago. So that is excellent. What I wanted to ask is, will this video be available? Because I see tomorrow Eric Flickenshield and I want to share it with them and discuss it with them. So Ezra or Putu, if you could send me the link to the video, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so certainly, first of all, the video of this meeting is in any case always available always, and then we will probably won't be any problem, but let's discuss within the team how exactly we're going to do the distribution of the of this video, and also what other communication material we still need to also not have any confusion on. So this is a technical video, but obviously for you, Bet, that is fine. You're one of us. But I do think that we need to we received it this morning. We looked at it. So it's really the first time that we see it as a community. So I think that we need to have some consideration on communication and all of that. But of course, you are one of us. You are our ambassador in any case.
Yeah, ambassador. And I understand that. And it's just that I want to share it with Eric Flickenshield, who was very, he could not make it in this meeting. And I'm sure that he is excited to see what has been done.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, yeah. Francesca, I think before we move on the agenda, and there's still loads to discuss, I'm sure you want the floor back to respond back to your team.
Yes, Prof. And thank you so much. It's really so exciting, and I'm so proud of what the technical team has been able to do. Oluwale already named everyone at the beginning of his introduction, and I would like to really, really thank them. It's a lot of work. There has been a lot of work has been put into this, and I'm happy that today, at least, we've been able to demonstrate that. The other time I was with Professor Baron Mons, and he keeps saying, VODAN Africa is the first successful implementation of data in residence in the context of COVID-19. And now we're doing another first successful implementation again. This is so exciting. And we're happy to share this with everyone. I mean, it's something we have achieved, and then we want people to benchmark with us, with what we have achieved. So in-house, we'll plan the communication and see how we share this with the rest of the world. Congratulations and thanks to everyone for the hard work. And thank you, Professor Miriam, for the support. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Next on the agenda is the update by Mariam, and I'm going to take these points together, update by Mariam and the number 6, the overview of the data fields and subsidiary descending terms. Mariam, can you quickly, not in detail, but just quickly show what you are working on and why this is relevant for any future work on the KPIs? Mariam, over to you.
Hello, hi everyone. Good afternoon. I'll just share my screen now. Oops, sorry. Okay, so these are the template groups, and basically within each template group, we have, sorry, I'll show this. Yes, so in each template group, we have, well, 3 templates, the OPD, COVID-19 generic, and the MCH generic. And like mentioned before, the OPDs are based on the registers that are used within the facilities, and therefore the data collected, the fields, some of the fields are similar and some of them are not. Sorry, I can't seem to see properly here. Yes, so these are the different fields within the template groups. This is template group 1, 2, 3. In total, we have 8 template groups. And basically, this procedure is to harmonize stroke similar fields. So for instance, date of patient visits, which is the same as in the template group 2, patient service dates, and the patient's dates of attendance. And I could also show a small bit of our VODAN portal.
Before you do that, could you go through all of the terminology that we have in all of the, if you scroll down, I think that is useful to,
yeah.
Okay. So this is where you're now comparing them all across all of the template groups, and which means that on the lines where we have the fields in every template group, we have the maximum result of all of the health facilities across a field. And that's what we are trying to now see to maximize the use of the dashboard.
Yeah, and on at the back of the dashboard, the VODAN portal, I was just showing that. I could just show a small glimpse of it so that everyone can. So this is the VODAN portal with the VODAN ontologies. And as you can see, I'll just basically open one up. This is the VODAN Nigeria, and these are the different classes along with the descendant terms. And yeah, that's a basic summary of it all. Okay.
Sorry, Mariam.
No problem. So that's the summary of the current standardization being done, and the template groups are all ready for the next phase of deployments. And yeah, that's basically it. Thanks.
That again is excellent progress.
Sorry.
Then thank you, Mariam. That's a great job and good progress. Then we did not discuss yesterday an update on the decision regarding the KPIs for the dashboards, but what I'm seeing from the work so far on the dashboards and the work of Mariam is that the current KPIs that we have seem okay. So I think that in the final analysis of the of pilot 1 and going to pilot 2, we may one time reconsider whether, you know, do we have all the right KPIs for this moment at this time, and then come to a final conclusion for pilot 2, which is the pilot before we go to installation across all of the health facilities. So with that, I can go to point 5 on the agenda, which is the update on documentation by Alia. Documentation meaning, there was also some confusion on the word of that. What we mean by that is really capturing all the source code, all of the work that we have done so that we can account for it. And Alia has made a proposal for that. Alia, would you like to present that?
Yes, sure. So hi, everyone. So let me share my screen. So basically, in this documentation, we have provided all the components that are involved within VODAN project. So basically, this stores all the source codes and also the versions. So versions are still to be updated in some components, and also afters for each component of the project. So basically in here we can find, for instance, a VM deployment image on the portal, so website and documentation for it, and bulk uploads, so where the source code is located, internal and external dashboard. So Andrea workspace, it's being installed. And then the templates, like overview of the templates and also overview of the attributes and vocabularies is signed within the templates. And also there is tasks to be resolved by the team. So it will be also helpful if you update this list yourselves, because some codes maybe need to be updated on a weekly basis, or when you do the update on the code itself. So, and then also the tasks that are involved in VODAN project is provided in this overview. So you can also have a look and put your tasks over there, and with deadlines and the description of the tasks. So that's basically it. If you have any comments, please yeah, put it in the chat or just tell me.
And I see Ezra has a hand. Stay on, Alia, because there's some few more questions. Ezra.
Thank you, Alia. Mine is just a suggestion regarding a documentation of templates, that you get to keep the JSON code for each template, because ideally the template can be reconstructed from the JSON. So it's very important that we get to keep the JSON for each of the templates that we are deploying out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ezra. And Alia, do you want to also speak about Andrea, the workbench that you have started to create together with Laurence?
Yeah, basically I have already received the response from Laurence today later, yeah, just a few hours ago. So that he says he already installed CentOS virtual machine environment. So so for now, it's only me and Professor Miriam who have access, but I already provided, I mean, like this access to Oluwole, so with the verification code, so my account to Andrea can be used by technical team. And then once we have the other accounts installed, so we can start working on our own accounts. So that's basically the main update.
And the good thing there is that it is dependent on us basically for the administration of the account. So we can really assign everyone in VODAN who needs to work with the Andrea workbench. We can do this. And then Aliyah, you have also made, which is really good, an overview of tasks, because I think that now as we are preparing to do the final pilot 1 and then between pilot 1 and 2, this is a really very important moment where we need all of you, Getu, Samson, anyone that I've seen here, Kawu, to take up parts that will make it easier to get the virtual image for the final installation. So there was this error message. I don't know if it's still there, but I'm sure Ezra and Oluwole will go through this also to remove what's no longer relevant. We had the issue of the slowness of the on the portal, the test on Andrea for deploying the aggregate dashboard. What's very important, Samson, is the integration of the bulk input into the, if you are going to include that into the virtual image. Then the other part that Kawu said, which I think is also a concern, is whether we can include the instructions for the output from VODAN Africa into DHIS or any other information system. So perhaps Kawu could help on that one. And so the point of the pilot is to really pick up any final things at this moment. Samson, I think you were doing a test on the available space for the data storage, because of course if we produce data in bulk, they need to be able to be stored and so on. So that is why we have this time between this moment where we basically have completed the work of Ezra and Oluwole of integrating the two front and back ends to installation. So we now need to finalize it with the final assets that we had set ourselves in our requirements and see if we can also complete those. So Aliyah, you will be coordinating this collaborative work, right? On integrating all of the remaining parts of the architecture, right?
Yeah.
And it will be really great if you can identify to Aliyah which of those tasks you will be able to pick up and what kind of a timeline is on that.
Yeah.
Are there any issues that need to be noticed at this moment for tasks that should be resolved? Ezra, Oluwole, are you having any additions to make on this or observations to make on this?
I don't know if Oluwole has something to say. I wanted him to go, but
I think we're going to go on this. This is very okay.
Great, thank you. Then thanks, Aliyah, for all that work of coordinating the architecture. That's really brilliant. Then the almost last issue is the first of all the overview of data intelligence. There's very good news also today because Feng Hong has written to us to congratulate everyone on the publications, and I'm happy to say that there is not one article that is not accepted. So this is great news. All the 24 articles have been accepted. The publication will be split between 16 articles in data and intelligence because we had gone over the maximum number of articles for a special issue apparently. And there are 8 that will be published in another good journal that already has approved. So I now just need to speak with Feng Hong about some final last issues, and then that will be moved forward. There was also for Oluwole and Ezra and anybody else here, a very good suggestion by Katie, that you could now publish the code and that at some point we can also publish the data from VODAN Africa. So maybe Aliyah and I will look at that further because that came into a conversation that Aliyah and I had with Katie, and I think it will be good and important to do that soon because I think this really is a marking moment. And then I'll be coming back to ask whether and who is ready to do a special issue 2 on this achievement up to the end of March. I think that special issue 2 could cover and which would then cover all of the work of the project in 2021 up to this moment. Then I had prepared, as Professor Francesca said, a short PowerPoint on where do we go from here. So here, congratulations on the Nigeria team on the preparation of the installation. So here, this one, I think all of us have seen. This is really the localization of the containers and the local dashboard, and then the data visiting in through CDAR directly in relation to the workbench of Andrea. The Aliyah, one thing that could be added in your form of tasks to be done is still the architecture on the containering. There was a discussion yesterday in the team whether we would have a vault, a container that is containing all the sensitive personal patient data and which is protected, which would help the security. I think Dr. Ibrahim, that is something that really comes maybe under your responsibility as the VODAN security manager. So there was a suggestion on this by a number of people. So we will be discussing this sometime, I think, with you, Dr. Ibrahim. And then we have the following key demonstration dates. And this is why it's getting really important to get this installation ready. That is on the 20th and 21st of April. Mark Mewson, the big boss from Stanford, is coming to LUMC. There will be a meeting with us, VODAN Africa, LUMC, and GoFair. And I think this is really an important moment to see where are we going with this in our collaboration with Stanford and with other projects that have also used CDAR. Although I think we can be proud that we are the one project that really has the deepest integration and data visiting architecture achieved at this moment. So this is going to be a very important meeting for which we should prepare. Then this meeting on the 29th of May is also a very, very important meeting. It's going to be a very high level meeting. Leiden is hosting the meeting. LUMC is heavily involved in the meeting. We have invited the president of the Pan-African Parliament, and he has agreed to travel to Leiden for this. We are also inviting our own government for this. Professor Francesca and VC, Professor Mpeza Mehigo, have also agreed to travel for this conference. And one of the three projects that this conference will consider is VODAN Africa. So this is why it's now really important that we get the installation out and populate so that we can see from here on where are we going and what is the future. The Leiden will take great pride in what has been achieved. The conference comes into the Leiden European City of Science title that Leiden holds this year. Then on the 14th and 15th of June, there are the European Development Days, and the topic of the European Development Days is entirely on digital and health. So we thought that we should also be showcasing VODAN there, and that this is also really good opportunity to see how we can extend our collaboration in the context of EU-AU or AU-EU rather, collaboration. And then another critical moment is the week of the 25th of October. That will be a co-data meeting, and that is where we will be identifying from a GoFair perspective the central code for the verification process, which then really is the basis of the Internet of Fair Data and Services. I was joking, but I meant it actually also with Olewole this morning, that today is really a remarkable moment that can be, you know, thought of in history as a starting point for that Internet of fair data and services. And these things always start with first steps. And today we have done a first. So here are some other meetings that are also taking place. So all of these are going to provide further opportunities where we as a community then will need to see what do we want to take in these opportunities that are going to emerge. For instance, these ones with AMREF and Farm Access, this is going to have to involve certainly the Kenyan team, maybe also others. But this is for further future discussion. Then this is where we came from, the meeting of SWAT for HCLS in January, and then the AU-EU Summit. So I think we have done very well this year in bringing out what we have done. Then our process here, March Pilot 1, that we are preparing now, Pilot 2, and the installation in the health facilities. Then in April 2022, we'll have the data production and the production of the dashboard visualizations. Then in May, we might, after the meeting on the 22nd of April, we might look at the integration, so the data visiting across CEDAR-based fair data projects on COVID data. Then the demonstration of the distributed federated query analytics that Samson in particular and Tesfit and Rudewan are working on. And then here towards the that central code conference preparation for that in October. We hope that we will be also featuring there as the opening project of that big conference. So it's really important that we are going to be very clear about all of our responsibilities as we have now achieved this, and need to make sure that as we go towards installation, that all of this will be handled well. So I hope that with all of the fantastic talent that we have, we can build a very, very strong VODAN Africa leadership team. and also research team. This is our Africa, VODAN Africa PhD research team with Mariam and Putu and Aliyah, Mahalet, Getu, Samson, Tesfit, Ephraim, Tigist, and Rudwan. And then we also have an excellent, and some are here, Mingyu has been here for weeks, of excellent master thesis research team, Rudwan, who is still also finishing his master thesis, and then Mingyu, Andre, and Leendert, who are all happy to contribute as well to what we are doing here. I have a few more minutes left. These are the tasks. I think we went through this today, so I will skip this. I think it's clear. The preparation of the steering committee and supplementary material. I'm going to leave that for now, but it's something that needs our attention in a leadership team. Our self-assessment, which we need to get back to. We have been invited to do a self-assessment for that steering committee that is coming up soon. And this is the all of the publications under the data intelligence. Finally, just to mention it, I think I have 1 more minute. People have been asking, like, okay, what are you looking now at for this business case for the continuation? So there's one important element, and that is the Data Stewardship Competence Center. The competence that we have realized here in our group is a real asset. And Professor Sakinat is there available to lead on that. Then the patient data health record management and analytical services, which we are all doing in the context of VODAN, but where we also can expand further with standardization, etc. This is another area. Then the VODAN Africa, the VODAN Africa scientific data management services. Yesterday we had a meeting with Aliyah and Katie on the completion of the project that the one project that she has done in the context of LUMC. It has gone very well. It's basically finished as well. So this is also something where we could really provide services. And I think we have it under our belt. We know how to do this. Then the FAIR VODAN Africa tooling delivery, the tools that we have are certainly, I mean, you could see better asking for the video. Others are going to want to look at this. So this is also why I'm saying that we need to be a little bit careful and strategic in how we are going to put this out. Ezra and Oluwola, also I'm saying that to you, that we have a plan, because this is also an asset and this has been done by a lot of input from our community. So we need to be strategic in how to use this as much as we want to contribute to the success of others. And then the final part, which would be the dynamic querying and data access of data. We are not there now. We are not there in terms of the permission framework that we would need to that, but we certainly do have the assets for it. We will have, or at least this is what our aspiration is, that we have quality data in very interesting fields, and that this might also serve both from the perspective of services and of science. Again, we need to do more work on the governance architecture also, as well as the architecture of the central part to get a dynamic querying set up, but it's certainly now within reach. So that means that this is really a proposal that we can discuss further, around which we can build the future of VODAN Africa as we go to completion of this phase. So that is what I wanted to present today. And it is 3 o'clock. So perhaps Dr. Reginald, you would like to respond to this now on this, and then I can hand back to Professor Francesca and to Putu for closure. Dr. Reginald, please.
Well, thank you, Professor. I think the plan is very good. It shows the progress we have made in the last 1 year, and the progress projects us to new projects that are coming up. and that is really, really good. I was also very pleased to see demonstration by Olwola and the team, the technical teams that keep supporting the country coordinators to achieve the goal. And this is where we're going. So thank you very much. I will just say that, Professor. Thank you.
And thanks a lot to also all of the researchers who have been putting in so much of their time and effort. And I think they have been thanked many times today, but again, really thank you, Mariam, Aliyah, and everyone. So let me then hand over back to you, Professor Francesca, for the final elements of this meeting. Thank you.
Prof. Francisca?
If Professor Francesca is not here, then perhaps we can ask Dr. Sakinat on this 8th of March, Women's Day, to close the meeting for us, Putu.
Thank you, Professor Meja. Hello, everyone. I first of all want to congratulate us on this awesome milestone. It's something beautiful. I congratulate Professor Mijam, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Francisca, and every other person that has contributed in one way or another. And our beyond that we are looking at. So thank you, everyone. And also, I feel awesome, Professor Mijam. Thank you, everyone.
Happy Women's Day, Dr. Sakinat. Thank you all. Thank you again, Oluwola and Ezra. You worked through the night and you have really made us all so proud here today. Thank you again, and thank you to everyone for being in attendance and being here every week, and that support across in this community is just really amazing. So thank you. I hope we'll keep up this good work in the coming weeks. And with that, I'll hand back over to you, Putu, to close this meeting.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Miriam. So I think there is no question or feedback anymore. By the way, happy International Women's Day. And then thanks for everyone for the participation. So we will see you next week, and the video recording will be uploaded in...
Putu, I'm very sorry to interrupt, but
okay. No worries.
I just got a message that my dear friend, Dr. Priska from KIU Library is here. Thank you for joining. Are you still here? I think the message, yeah, just came. Do you want to say something before we close this meeting, Dr. Priska? You were there at the very, very first meeting when we discussed this years ago.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. I think there is really nothing very pleasing as happy as I have been today to at least follow up on the project of Vodafone, Fair. I'm extremely overwhelmed with the progress. Thank you very much, Prof, and thank you very much for the research team, the technical team. You are our pride. Please keep it up. We are very proud of you. We are very happy about the progress you have made, and it is awesome. I'm very happy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Priska. So then, sorry, Putu, just back over to you for the closure today.
Okay, no worries, Prof. Miriam. So as always, the video recording will be uploaded in YouTube, and also I will give the link on the chat box. And thanks again for joining us. We will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Putu.
Bye.
Prof. Happy Women's Day
Bye,
to all
Prof,
VODAN
everyone.
members.
Bye bye.
Thank you.